Glory, glory, glory to the Most High God. Yeah, just give a testimony and confirmation of the last week or so, from the 20th September, about moving. A lot of prophecy going around about moving to your new territory, etc., new assignments. And I just want to give confirmation that it's happened for me. So I had to move. Been on the east coast, sunny east coast of Queensland, and because of the border restrictions and lockdowns, etc., I had to go a long way around to certain states to get to the state that I needed to get to. Yeah, so I took off on Monday. Yeah, it was quite an interesting day. Monday, I was sort of taking long ways to go the long way, and I felt a lot of things coming against me, spiritual warfare or whatever, and also it was a very hot day, and yeah, it was a very testing day. Um, so I got to the destination that I was supposed to get to, um, but it was quite a long trip. Once again, you go to one caravan park and then you realise it's too expensive, so you go to another caravan park and stuff like that. But I actually got to stay in a caravan park once, and anyway, yeah, so that was the first day. The second day was pretty much similar situation. When I took off from this journey, I only had enough money for about half the journey. Um, and considering I was going out into the outback and almost desert area, a bit daunting. But yeah, it still went. So the second day I got out to a place called Birdsville, which is right out in the whoop whoop, almost desert, um, very dry outback. And then I had to get some money to go to another place, and then I heard in the spirit to ring one certain lady up, or message a certain lady up, so to say, I was able to get a transfer of money, which is greatly accepted. Thank you. Um, yeah, and then from there I travelled on the third day across the very rough dirt, almost desert area, which is very seldomly travelled on, um, in the border of outback and desert, and I drove along there, and lo and behold, just before, as usual with God, he has me run out of petrol 10 k's before a town again, and so somebody came along and blessed me by giving me. They took my jerry can, went into the town, and came back and didn't ask for payment or anything. So yeah, so hopefully they've been blessed by blessing me. So I was able to go to the town then. Now I thought that I heard as well that I was supposed to get some more money from the original lady that I asked money for, and no, that wasn't the case. So then here I was with 20 litres maybe to go further, and not knowing where I'm going, not how I'm going to get money or whatever. And I put the request out on the network that we have, and so yeah, the next day I travelled forward, and I had free camping there in a hotel, so that was good. Some hotels in the outback, they have little camp. You're allowed to camp in the background, so that was good. Free camping, because otherwise I couldn't afford it. Yeah, so I went forward from there, and that was into the fourth day, and it was quite. It started getting a bit interesting after that. Well, along the way, I had to. I got a text message from my daughter, and see, like, I was actually had a table on my roof, which was belonging to my daughter, and I was going to take it down as a surprise. But because I didn't have any money, and I didn't tell her anything, but she then texted me out of the blue and said, "Are you still in Queensland?" And then I heard got in the spirit that I'm supposed to ask her for some money. So I ended up asking her for some money for the rest of the trip, well, most of the rest of the trip. I still will need some more at the end. And so I got some money there. And out of the blue, it just came this text from my daughter, so right at a time when I needed it. Yeah, so travel along there. So I kept travelling south, and some of the interesting things I came to is my next destination was going to be a place called Jamestown in South Australia, because I'd crossed over into another state. And when I went into, just before I came into Jamestown, what really stood out was the fact that the fields, there was these small little plants, and I had very small yellow flowers at the top, and they sort of drooped down a bit. But when they're all bunched together and they're in a field, there was just fields of yellow, and it was very significant as I came in as to what's happening, to what at this moment being spring for us, and also the new Jewish New Year. The significance of the yellow fields really stood out to me, and so I stayed at Jamestown. And the funny thing was that the RV stop there, which was free camping, so to speak, was an R.G. Williams, who's normally noted for making boots. And it was a park there as a memorial for him, and that's where I slept tonight. And the significant thing was when I actually looked at the board, is the significant amount of work he actually did before he made boots, in regard to um, God's work. His mother was in the church, and he actually went out and, in his younger days, went out and built churches in these remote places, and he also did a lot of mission work. And in between that, he also had a cattle run that he had from Jamestown south. And it's a significant that when I left Jamestown the next day, that there was quite a number of fields of yellow all the way along this track, along this route that he would have taken. And I think there's some significance there to show that, when somebody has done such a great work for God, that the areas he's been in may be blessed in a long time. That was what I tend to sense out of that. So the next day, like I said, I got up and I travelled south again and across South Australia into Victoria, which is another lockdown state, or partly lockdown state, and there was question marks of whether I'd even get in if there was any border patrol. But the God knows what he's doing. And so I went to Victoria, into Victoria. I didn't have a permit, and he took me into Victoria. I drove along for a while. And then, at one stage there I had a police car sitting on my backside. I was doing 80 in a 100 zone. But they didn't change the speed. I just said, "Hey, God, you got him. I hope you got him sorted out." And fair enough. After sitting on my backside for a number of K's, wondering if he was going to pull me over in suspicion of coming over the border, he took off and overtook it and took off. So yeah, that was good. But that day I had a long journey. I started at 7:30 in the morning, and I didn't stop till after 12:30 at night. And that was only because the petrol stations were shut. But he had me go the long way around, because I had to go on the other side of Melbourne. So he had me going a long way around and over the top. And I wasn't so sure why he had me go over that. And I had to go up to this place called Benalla. And this was already late at night by the time I got there. And once again, he had me pray over a Freemasons, a Royal Freemasons site. It's one of his retirement villages that Freemasons have. They call them the Royal Freemasons. So once again, I had to pray down the stronghold that the Freemason spirit had over it, and then invite the Holy Spirit, etc. And so then I realised that that's why I had to go there, and that's why I had to go the long way around Melbourne, so to speak, and couldn't just cut through. And then from there I went south, and then I kept driving and driving, but I ran out of, come to the point where I came to a town and I just didn't have any more petrol. It was there, would have been, empty for a while. And the petrol stations all along there were shut, so I had to sleep in the car overnight. And then the next day I managed to drive to a destination which would be my holding cell for hopefully not too long, but for a few days, maybe a week or so. And yeah, so I reached there, and also I received I received a deposit or a donation via PayPal from another lovely lady. Thank you. So that money will be for the petrol to finish off the last leg in a week or so, or well, probably not two, but in a few days or a week. And I think the other significant thing is that in Victoria, because there's an issue, one, they have got a lot of the police on the northern border to New South Wales to stop people from coming in that side, and because of the protesting that's going on in Melbourne itself, and there's a lot of commitment to the police down there, you can see why how God has moved me around a long way through South Australia into Victoria to, and he's conceived and he's planned it out so that I wouldn't have to have too many hindrances getting to the destination. So even though, and I think the thing that's to take out of this is that it's like when in the gospel books where the Pharisees wanted to get their hands on Jesus and he'd slip through the crowd, or the Pharisees wanted to get their hands on Jesus, but there's too many people, too many followers around, and they were worried about the reaction of the people. So I think this is a good example and testimony how God can move you around at certain times and in certain places, because he knows what's going on, and he knows what's going to happen with the rioting and the border protection and stuff like that, that he knew that he could get me through these areas without much hassle, and and still do my prayers and do my blessings through different places and etc. So yeah, so it gives confidence, and I hope it gives you confidence as well that when you do move forward from this time forward, no matter during the times of persecution, that just like Jesus slipped through the crowd because it was in time, God will do the same for you, because like he has done for me. He's slipped me through the borders and the patrols and stuff like that, and got me to the destination without any hindrances. So I think that's great comfort and encouragement to know that if there is a place that you have to go to and you're worried about being pulled over, or you might be in a disagreement with the authorities or whatever, if God is saying to you to do that, he's going to protect you and he's going to give you the path to get there to do it. So I hope this is a blessing to you. I think I've dribbled on a bit too far there, but yeah. So just confirmation that yes, we are moving. I have moved and right across the country, around the country, and but yeah, he's got me there, and eventually I got there. And yes, it has been a bit of spiritual warfare, but I feel now that this is going to be a start of a new thing. And I think the significant things with like the yellow fields was really significant, and also the fact that he's got me through border controls. without a hindrance. So yeah, bless you all. Thank you.